All right, here we go. CP3D.
Dude, I just put it up behind me. All
I
right, man.
see, I see, I see you did that. You did that. David has been messaging me all day. And when I
Well,
say
nothing
all
unusual
day,
about that, man. Nothing unusual about that.
I
Okay.
know, but you've been messaging me all day on the same topic. And when I say all day, I mean for the past 24 hours. Um, I think I might have left Michigan 24 hours ago. So uh David's been texting me about Biden and about what the research you've been doing
Yeah.
that is about signals moving towards him being out. And then the news drops. The news drops Schumer going to talk to him. And then our guy in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, going to talk to him,
Yeah.
who famously 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It was Friday,
Yep.
2 weeks ago. Yes.
Okay. And do you have that tweet up? Do you have that up?
Oh,
Maybe pull it up on Slack and do a quick share screen. But he he texts this really, like, in the midst of the initial back and forth about what's going on with Biden and people wanting him out. And what does Hakeem Jeffries think? What's going on in the House? What are people saying about it? And he tweets this 3 sentence tweet. And it feels like it's a very general statement about this country, and it's got these 3 lines in it. Are you pulling it up?
I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it, man.
Okay, it's in this. I know it's in the Slack.
I got it. I got it right
You
here.
got
Okay.
it. Okay, I don't want to spoil it, but we're gonna read it for you. Here are the 3 lines here.
Okay. So this is July 5th, the day after the 4th of July, obviously. July
Yep.
5th, 5:18 a.m. All right. 5:18 a.m. You talk about getting ahead of the news cycle, 5:18 a.m.
That's how you do it, right? That's how you do
Yes.
it. Can you share screen? Because we're gonna show this on YouTube also.
Okay.
Yeah, the people who watch this on YouTube, they get the extra visual. We do the hand gestures and everything. Oh wait, don't show your email. Oh, this is the message. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So it says
Okay, go
fa
ahead.
failure. This is Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader of the Democratic leadership of the U.S. House. Failure is not an option. We must succeed for the people.
Okay,
All right.
for the people. Everyone's like, if you're just a casual watcher of Twitter, which nobody on Twitter is casual anymore. It's a full-on battle every single time you're writing anything or you're reading comments. It's just a battle. Um, but this could be innocent. This could be innocent, except for that last line, because if you hold up the sign, David, behind you, please, sir.
Yeah.
Can you bring that to the camera here?
Yeah. Got it. Oh, I got to come off a screen share to show you. Yep.
Okay, come off a screen share. But this is the sign that you have is from us attending um the announcement rally for Kamala Harris. And what does it say there? Kamala Harris for the people. Hakeem Jeffries, and this is something that happens in politics often. And David, you can talk about this a little bit, but he's signaling. This is he's signaling, and he's saying this is where I'm leaning. We're having a bunch of behind the scenes conversations, and I want you to know that this is what I'm saying.
What's great about this, because this is the kind of stuff when, like, imagine a family system where you've lived in the family system forever, and you know that when your dad clears his throat, like it's like shit all is going to break loose, right?
Yeah.
Or when mom says fine or something like this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know the signals, you know the cues. Or in a relationship that you've been in for a long time, your partner does X or you do
Mm-hmm.
Y. Well, in American politics, when you start to adopt the language of someone else, it becomes this moment where perhaps you just see the world the same way and you're saying things that are similar or similar language. but that is not usually a perhaps just coincidental moment when you're talking about the most strategic leaders that are out there. Okay. So when Hakeem Jeffries tweeted that last line, for the people, I sent you a text July 5th. And I said, oh man, wow, look at
Yeah.
this. That's 2 weeks ago. Okay. July 5th.
Which feels like an eternity ago.
Yes.
It feels like forever ago in politics.
So his in that the sign that I have, the one that you referenced, Charles, the Kamala Harris, for the people, you have a shirt that
Yeah.
matches that, because we got those when we went to her campaign announcement running for the presidency in 2019, and we went to her in Oakland, California. And we went because just had a maybe, I mean, she could maybe be the first African American woman or the first woman to be president of the United States, right? And so we're like, we want to go. We flew down in the morning from Seattle, flew back in the evening that day just to see it. So like, of course, when Jeffries tweets this, I'm like, that's really interesting. And Jeffries is cryptic. That dude is cryptic. He does not like come out and tell you like, you know, he did eventually, yes, just 4 days ago, have a meeting at the White House with Biden. And all he said since is, I conveyed the full range of feelings of the Democratic caucus with the president, which is a very respectful way to say it, which is a very respectful way to saying, I told him that like, we're going to friggin' lose.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, and he didn't, you know, everyone's looking at that and they're analyzing it. And they're saying a lot of things about what he may have said, and he's not refuting those things.
Right.
Like
He's
he's not
not.
saying, no, hey, listen, I'm still behind Biden. You know, you got it all wrong. You know, whereas, you know, I'd say a week ago, he was still saying, my original statement is true. I support Biden. You know, he was doing that thing. So the winds have completely changed. And where you are now. So what you've been messaging to me in the last 24 hours has been, you think he's out.
Yeah.
You don't think he's on the way out. You think, or that they're trying really hard, or just that this is a big maybe. You think that it's inevitable now.
I do. I do think it's inevitable. And I want to begin like a personal kind of crusade here. And that word, totally loaded word, but just hang with me for a second. I want to begin a personal crusade, which is I want to shift the language, and I want to do it with myself, first of all. But I'm hoping we will, to shift the
Okay.
language to not that he's out or that Biden is out, but that Harris is coming in.
Oh,
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Harris
Yeah.
is
Not that
coming
we're
in.
moving away from something, but we're moving towards something.
Right. We're bringing in the stuff, like the rising star, the next
Yeah.
generation leader, right? That's what's happening here. Is the next generation leader is stepping forward, and she's just become so, I believe, talented, and has found her footing since the Dobbs Supreme Court decision. That she has what has happened is Biden, in the last couple of months, is that Biden, there has become a contrast to Biden of another plausible candidate who he
Yeah.
works with next. Like, it's like these two people showing up, and the second person is just constantly outshining the first, right?
Right. Right.
And so Harris is coming in, and we don't want to walk through in this podcast because we want to move towards CP's thinking about all this. But piece after piece of evidence today points to that there's going to be a transition at the top of the ticket for the Democratic presidential nominee, and that the only plausible person that everybody can get behind at this point is Vice President Kamala Harris. And
Yeah,
so,
and
like,
that's not there. There are some tactical reasons. There's some like strong logistical reasons
yes,
why it needs to be her. And then there are also the big, um, I would say, brand and like voter emotion reasons why it needs to be her, in addition to her ability. So that's like, I think that's unquestioned at this point. But there's the this is what it needs. This is what we need for us to win this election. And she's got all of these things. She's got all of them.
right. And everybody who listens to, who like might listen to or share this podcast, um, it's an uphill climb for anybody at this point. Can a woman, can an African American woman, Southeast Asian woman become president of the United States? And, well, it's never going to happen until it happens. All right,
Yep.
it's never
Same
going to
with Barack
happen.
Obama.
Exactly. So let's not dwell on the road ahead of us. Let's dwell on the possibility here, the hope, the potential, the opportunity that we're going to have here. And that's where our work at Common Power turns in, because we don't dwell on the hypotheticals, the possibilities, the maybes, and we don't live in that space. What we live in, the what can we do? What
Yeah.
can we do?
Yeah. And so to your point of talking about her coming in and not him going out, I think that the people who have locked in the most to there needed to be a change at the top are the people who didn't just sit with a fear of Biden being at the top of the ticket, but also started to imagine what it would be like to make a change. And they did it with Gavin probably, or Gretchen Whitmer or whatever. And but I think the strongest one has been Kamala, and that actually is something that has brought me joy. That's what I did. I actually made the transition from just thinking about Biden and what's going wrong with him and how tough it's going to be to bring him down or whatever, and the transition or anything like that, and just thinking about, okay, just say we get Kamala tomorrow. Say we get Kamala tomorrow. What does that look like for us? What does it look like, of course, for us as an organization? And we'll talk a little bit about that here. But what does it look like for voters? What does a debate stage look like? What do we imagine her saying to Trump on the other side of the stage? What do the commercials look like? What do the ads look like? What does it look like her walking through neighborhoods in America and talking to people? What does it look like her listening and sitting with people and relating to people? And you start to imagine her doing these things and doing the things that maybe, we thought, oh, Biden can't do that. And what does it look like for her to do? Whoa, it's amazing. It's visually compelling. It is emotionally compelling. You get to hear her mind start to work on these issues, and you see her live pivot with people and debate with people, and have somebody yell something to her in the crowd, and her say something really smart and cool back. I heard her come up with these catchphrases that are really cool, and talk to young black and brown people in ways that no one's talking to them right now. It's really easy for Trump to be like, I'm going to go meet with some rappers. It's very different for Kamala to be like, I'm gonna go meet with some rappers and actually relate to them in a way that these old white guys can't. And that's the thing. That's what I started thinking about. And I was like, I'm excited. Like I'm like emotionally bought into this idea. I can get really revved up about this. I can debate somebody on this topic. I can really get my community who's gonna knock on doors fired up about knocking on doors for Kamala Harris. That's when it started to change for me. And I know I said, maybe last episode or a couple episodes ago that I was tired of the back and forth stuff. And that's true. That's true. And I think what that means for us is still the same, that we just need to do it or not do it. And now we need to do it or not do it now, and start working on hitting these doors and thinking about what the case is that we're going to make to the American people.
Yeah, well, as we're doing this episode, and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about it, I think that when this comes to pass, and it's going to come to pass in the next several days, could be very, very quickly, could be after the weekend, but when it comes to pass, I do think you and I should do another series of episodes or podcasts or something in which we actually talk about what the transition means in detail. Okay.
Yeah,
for CP, what it means for our tactical strategy, what it means for our vision of America, all of this. All right. So I want to unfold that. I want to unfurl that. That's a better word to think of a flag, unfurling. I want to unfurl that.
Okay, so we're gonna hold on that for now because we got like 5 more minutes here before we're at the. Yeah.
So
okay.
Right now, though, that enthusiasm and energy, I just want to finish the point though, because you said a few days ago, you're like, as you said, I'm kind of like, I'm ready to go to work. Let's just go to work. But now you're expressing all this enthusiasm. I think that what you did, you're doing what a leader does. You came to terms with what was the practical possibilities. Okay. That's where you were at. And you're always looking at what are the practical possibilities. That's what we always have to do. And you looked at it and you said, if it's Biden, then we're going to make the best of it. We are, absolutely. And we're going to, and if it's, but there's something in your core as a human and as the leader of common power and as the person who is the son of a Black Panther, that there's something
Yeah.
deeper inside your psyche that gets to you about Harris. And that's just real. That's just real.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and to be completely honest about where we've been in our journey as an organization, we had to come around about Biden in a very sober way. You know, we had I don't know 50 people running for president, and
Not this year, but in 2020.
no,
Yeah.
in 2020, yeah, and nobody was super excited about Biden until we had to be, and then we were. Then we were, and we knuckled down and we did the thing that we had to do, and we got behind it because it made sense.
That's why we
Uh,
sent you to, we went to Iowa so you could meet with them in 20 January of 2020 so you could look them in the eye and talk to them, which you did. All right.
I did, and I told him that I don't think that I wasn't excited about knocking on doors for him, and a bunch of young folks are going to struggle knocking on doors for him. And I asked him what would he say to my door knockers, and he said, I've been fighting. I'd tell him I've been fighting for you all for my entire life. It was really compelling. It was really compelling, and he's like, you can trust me, and I'll keep fighting. And he put his hands on my shoulders and said, and he spoke to me very quietly, and there were cameras all around and everything, and there were people all around, and there's like video of it, and you can barely hear what he's saying, but I heard it, and I was like, wow, I believe him. I really, really believe you. And that was the beginning of my like turn towards him. Um, so you know, this
Right.
moment,
So
I
he's
remember
carried
that.
that. Well, I want to ask you, he's carried that through, right? I mean,
Yeah,
what has happened is not that we don't trust the dude. That is not what the situation is. The situation is we need someone to
no,
vigorously run the campaign.
right, right. Well, we need somebody to win. We need somebody to win, and he's got a shot, but she's got a better shot.
Yeah.
She's got a better shot, and we need the best. We need the best shot right now, and that's what people are saying. And I think he's done a great job. And I think that if we didn't have to run again, and he could just run, he could just, you know, we could just put his record up like a resume. You know, it'd be super weird if you're hiring people and they like campaigned to be hired by you. No, we look at their resumes. Look at the resumes and their LinkedIn, and we read them, we research them, and then we select based on that. If we select presidents that way, I would say, yeah, let's stick with Biden. But it's not going to be him. It's a sales job. It's a sales job. It's a hearts first, and then minds job. And there are people in the middle that we need to convince who are going to be more convinced by her. And that's what I'm convinced of right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when we look at the map, the common power electoral map, and you think about the candidates that we're working to support around the country, in addition to the president, vice president, we're talking about a Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, Alyssa Slotkin. These are senators. Alyssa Slotkin wants to be a senator in Michigan. Angela also Brooks in Maryland.
Maryland.
All right. Sherrod Brown in Ohio, John Tester in Montana, Ruben Gallego in Arizona. We could go through each of those states, and Charles and the fieldwork team have already begun this kind of thinking. Go through each of those states and say, how does this campaign shift, assuming that this goes forward? How does Harris at the top with a new VP candidate make the map both more challenging, but also more potentially valuable for us? And I got to say that the notion of her campaigning side by side with Baldwin, Slotkin, and also Brooks right off the bat elevates those candidates' likelihood to win because they're going to be hitting the message of abortion and reproductive freedom over and over and over again. Like, if there's one core message that Kamala Harris walks out of the kind of locker room with right now,
Mm-hmm.
where she's ready to roll with it, it is on reproductive freedoms. All right. And
Yeah.
that's the winningest issue that the Democrats have right now. And so that alone puts us in stronger position in I think almost every state, almost every one.
Yeah. So there's that issue where she's been she's been stronger than anybody in the federal government on, really good messenger on, has a lot of practice there. The other one that is connected is, and this is also connected to another thing, which is her background as a prosecutor. And I mean, one, the juxtaposition of a prosecutor and a 34
Yeah,
time
34.
Convicted felon is huge. I think specifically one of this is one nugget from my tour in Michigan, is that in Black communities, dunking on felons is not a cool thing. So that's one thing we've got to,
Oh,
and
okay.
in our
Okay.
work and trying to get voting rights back for formerly convicted folks, just dunking on Trump because he's a convicted felon is really, it doesn't work. We should kind of think about that messaging. What is completely salient here, though, and that she could ride really hard, is this he's been proven in court to have raped.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was one of her claims to fame for prosecutions in California. So that's one thing right there. The other thing, I mean, that there's the business dealings, her being tougher on crime in general, and that being something that's a weakness for Democrats everywhere in the country. I think she could ride that really hard. I mean, the test case for this is somebody like Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan, who's in the eyes of some people is a federal cop, and that's actually right now it's a positive for her, especially amongst swing voters. So in those blue wall states that have blue collar, for lack of a better term, low information voters, with maybe they want more, they think crime is an issue, even though crime is going down historically since 2020. They want somebody who's going to be tougher on crime, or that they perceive as being tougher on crime.
Well, I think that the way in which she's also, I think, become able to explain her kind of leadership and legal philosophies as like what she would be as a president. She's better today than she was in 2020. So in 2020, her history as tough on crime or a coppola, all of that was absolutely a difficult space for her in the Democratic. The Democratic nomination. Today, I think she has a more expansive way of explaining how she thinks about justice, okay, and fairness. And that is, to me, is a great contrast against Donald Trump. Against this guy, you forget all the 34 felonies. Forget about that. Let's just go with his treatment of women for his entire life, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. I think the polling in states like Pennsylvania is in her favor. It'll probably get repolled again, and she's probably showing up way stronger than a bunch of other people on the ticket. So I don't know, man. I'm excited.
That's cool. That's cool. Thanks for kind of like letting it riff there and giving us your thoughts. So what's our position here, folks? We're going to wrap here. Our position here is that it's inevitable at this point that Kamala Harris is going to arise and emerge. And if the Democratic Party throws open the nomination to everybody, that is not going to be something that common
That'd be
powers.
terrible.
Right. That's not what
That'd
we
be terrible. Open convention, terrible. This needs to get wrapped up quick. It needs to get handed over quick. Yep. It needs to be an announcement, and he needs to back her immediately, and then it's done. Done. Head to convention, and that's it. Open convention is bad. All that is bad. We need all of our donors to get aligned. We need all of the leaders of our community orgs to get aligned. We've got to sort all that stuff out, and then we've got to go after the swing voters who we've lost, and try to win them back. Not the swing voters, the moderate voters that we've lost, the moderate and the progressive voters that we've lost, actually, because of what's going on in the Middle East. We need to take another push towards them. Like, we've got to shore all of that stuff up, and quickly, to then figure out where our biggest vulnerabilities are. They just secured a vice president who's going to continue Trumpism, and also ensure that they have the richest people, some of the richest people in this country backing them. And that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. That's a big mountain to climb. So we've got to get all the small stuff. I mean, what's small right now, but we've got to get that stuff out of the way so we can figure out what these bigger issues are.
So keep riding with CP3D. We're doing it daily right now, and glad to do it tonight. Oh, by the way, tonight Donald Trump accepts the Republican nomination tonight. Okay,
Really, that's news.
yeah. So that's happening, but right now we're making some kind of like headway on where the Democratic Party is going to go. There's a couple things that we didn't even touch base on this podcast that I know are really exciting things that are
Just
coming.
name them. Name them.
No, I'm not naming them, Matt.
You're not going to name them?
No, there are things
that. You mean like internally at CP?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like things that are exciting that are coming.
Yes, unnamed partnership with significant organization on the left. Unnamed news story locally and with unnamed newspaper in Seattle.
Unnamed Institute of Common Power partnership with a high-profile athletic team in this country.
That's right. You know, small things like that. That's cool. We're still cooking, everybody. And there's a ton of reason to be hopeful and positive. Recipe for disaster is watching the GOP convention. Okay, watch it through a filter. You need to watch a news program where they analyze it, and you go to YouTube and watch a clip. Watch small clips. Do not stay on C-SPAN and watch just unfiltered garbage into your face. You don't need that. Okay. Let David do that.
Thanks. CP3D. We're out. All right.
Wow. Doesn't get old. All right. Take care.
See ya. Let's go.